Fellows.
Yes.
Fellows. Why is the only relationship I have with the word fellows bedfellows?
I don't know.
Bedfellows.
My relationship,
what a strange
my weird connotation with fellows is the fellowship of the ring. It's the ring, the Tolkien thing.
Will has stuck his head inside the speaker in order to hear the octanote.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yes,
you can just
it's
stay
quietly
there
on
with your head stuck in the speaker. That's fine.
Why don't you lie down on the carpet there, Will, and chill?
Yeah. Or you can give him my yoga mat so he can lie down on the yoga mat if you want.
Do you want the yoga mat, mate?
It's behind you.
It's behind you. It's behind you. Where is it?
Get it for him.
What?
It's behind you.
He doesn't want it, does he?
No.
Do you want it?
I would like it, that's so I could lie down.
He would like it, that's so he can lie down. I like how he says that's so instead of so that.
That's so.
Yes.
Where is it? I don't know where it is.
It's
there.
It's
behind me. Where behind me?
It's there, in that gap.
Well, am I supposed to contort myself and levitate horizontally in order to get it out of the strange shelf that you shoved it backwards into?
Yes, that's what I'm
The whole point of sitting here to do the presentation is so that we don't have to move.
Well.
My arm is falling off. Well, I'm lucky it's not somewhere else. I'm lucky you didn't put it on the far side of the kitchen, or...
There you go. That's because I have the power of precognition.
Horrible colour.
And I knew. I knew.
Well, come and take it. Come and take it.
Here you are, darling.
Come and take it.
So, we are back. We gave Will the yoga mat, and now we can give you some information.
You're just...
But first...
What?
First
what?
How are you this morning, my darling?
Well, could you not pull the cable, please, behind my head? Thank you. All right.
How are you today, my darling? You seem a little bit tense.
Tense?
Yes.
I was woken up by the fucking neighbour's dog at 6 o'clock this morning.
He used the F word.
So, that pissed me off. So
he used the P word.
So I'm not very happy about that. Will, would you just roll it out like a normal person would?
Let Jasmine...
You're not trying to do anything. You're standing there waving the yoga mat around.
Let Jasmine unroll it, yeah?
Jasmine can unroll
That's it.
No, you have to move it further that way because you're going to roll it over the stand where the cameras are. You have to pull it back.
Calm down.
I am calm. This is me being calm. Can't you see that? God, you'd be lucky you listening to this on the podcast and not watching it on the screen.
Okay, Will, can you get off it for a second?
It, please. You're stopping her from rolling it out properly.
Finish it.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you, darling. Breathe.
I'm amazed that anything gets achieved on this planet at all.
Breathe.
What?
Breathe.
Breathe?
Yes.
I spent an hour and 45 minutes
breathing.
Trying to breathe. I spent an hour and 45 minutes trying to set up the technical stuff this morning so that we could do this session. Computers that didn't work, Facebook that turned itself off. I have cables that don't want to connect. I have...
I've got this button on my head.
Are you okay? I don't think I've had enough coffee.
You didn't have enough coffee.
I haven't had enough coffee this morning. What?
Well, where's the rest of your coffee?
It's right here somewhere.
Drink it.
It's right here somewhere.
Just breathe and drink it, okay?
Because I don't have the flowery cup today. That would make me even more frustrated.
See? This... How can a flowery cup make you frustrated, honestly?
Because it's ugly. The flowery cup is an ugly cup. I don't know. I just...
You do realize
I like to be surrounded by nice things.
You do realize that a cup cannot make you anything, right? You do realize that it's all in your head.
But
it's not the cup that makes you...
It's not all in your head. There's a relationship to the external world because... Now, look, you see a tree that's nice. It's nice. You go like, oh, look at that nice. You see a view that's nice. It's like, oh, I like that view. You see a sunset that's nice. Oh, I like that sunset. Right? So, it's not you that makes the sunset nice. It just is what it is, right?
Yes, it is you.
What?
It absolutely is you.
It's me that makes the sunset. It's you that makes the sun shine.
It is completely you. This is what you don't understand. It is completely you. You create your own reality. If
you're not supposed to hear the words.
You can't hear any words.
You're
you can hear our words.
Okay, would you stop? I don't care. I don't care that you can't hear it, Will. You're very lucky to have the opportunity to watch it.
Stop it.
And you watched it yesterday. What?
Stop it.
Ah!
You're gaslighting him.
I've got my angry head on this morning. Get out of my way, world. Get out of my way. Okay. Don't cross my path.
This is not the best example of your practical and peaceful parenting.
The whole point of doing peaceful parenting is to get away from this.
We can get angry.
Look, you can't be happy all the time. Like, someone who's happy all the time is probably on some kind of medication.
It's okay.
Right?
We can get angry, and that's okay.
I'm not angry.
Yes, you are.
I'm not angry. I just don't need to deal with some stuff sometimes. Look, the quality of my life is improved by having a nice cup to drink my nice coffee from. Right? Right. It just is.
You didn't let me finish my point. My point was, you do make the sunset nice because when you're stressed, right?
What?
Or scared, or angry, or pissed off, and you see a nice sunset, you don't go, oh, look, that's a nice sunset. You go, oh, the bloody freaking sun is shining at me with its bloody
I've never been angry at the sun.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, when you are all negative, you don't notice the positive things, and you don't view them as positive, mostly. You focus on the negative.
Perception creates reality.
Yes.
You know, I've got... It's funny you should say that.
Yes?
Because...
It sounds like a script. It's funny you should say that, Cookie Monster.
It's... Cookies, give me more cookies.
Do you have some interesting information on the perception creating your reality? Or my reality? Somebody else's reality.
My perception creating reality. Well, let's forego the usual intro. I like you doing the usual intro, but I have no idea how long we've been doing this because I think the podcast timer, which is the only timer that we've got, is not working properly because...
You turned it on too soon.
I didn't turn it on too soon. I didn't know that all the technical malfools were going to...
I didn't check it again, by the way. Should I check it again?
No.
Okay. I'll just go.
Not after all the mess-ups and other stuff. I don't like using the word stuff. Stuff. The word stuff annoys me. Stuff and things. Those two words should be banned from the English language because they're just so non-specific and
that's for the
undirectional.
It's for the week of vocabulary.
Is that one word? Week of vocabulary.
Yeah. Yes, it's a compound.
It's a compound. Yes. It's a compound word.
Yes.
Yes. What was the other compound word that you created this morning before we went live?
I forgot.
Something that ended with of.
Ungetridable.
Ungetridable of.
Yes.
That should be a word.
Of.
Yeah, I'm going to write Webster's dictionary and suggest that they include.
You're going to write Jester's dictionary.
I can have my own dictionary. Ungetridable of. What's wrong with that? Why can't I have my own dictionary?
You can. That's what I've been trying to tell you
all the time. I've got my own
diction.
Why can't I have my own dictionary?
Every time you tell me that I said something that's actually not a word, I'm trying to tell you that as soon as you say it, it becomes a word, right? Because you said it.
When I was a kid, I used to listen to all these hair bands. And one of them... When I was a kid...
Hair bands. Hair bands don't make a sound. Hair
bands, you know, like... do you remember Extreme More Than Words? They were a hair band, right? They were a band that played loud rock music and they all had lots of hair. Those were called hair bands.
Hair bands.
Right.
Weird.
Not the things you tie your hair back with.
Weird.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay.
More than words. La, la, la.
Say that I love you is not the words I want to hear. That would make a good rap, actually. Anyway. Was that fun? Yeah, I used to listen to this... listen to all these hair bands. And they were kind of ridiculously over the top, right? They were OTT. you know, they were larger than life. They'd all wear makeup and
Yeah.
do silly things and
Yeah.
have silly names. And one of them was
Yeah.
called Faster Pussycat. And
Naturally. That's your
Faster
usual
Pussycat, yeah.
hair band name.
yeah, why not, right? What was that band? I found the band on the internet.
Anal
Thunder.
Storms. It was called Anal Thunder.
There was actually a band called Anal Thunder. Unbelievable. So, anyway, Faster Pussycat had a song entitled "She Just Loves Me for My Big Dictionary."
Nice.
And the chorus was, "She just loves me for my big dictionary. She likes my vocabulary."
Will thinks it's funny.
I swear that song exists. If people don't believe me, they can go and research it. It actually exists. I'm pretty sure I had the whole album that I borrowed from the local library. Because this is what they had for kids to listen to.
Faster than what?
What?
Faster than what?
What do you mean faster than faster? What do you mean? What?
Faster Pussycat. Faster than what?
Faster than love, right?
Right.
Too fast for love. That was a Motley Crue song.
Faster than life.
Maybe faster.
So, what did you want to tell me about this perception reality thing then?
Right. Apart from the fact that it's got nothing to do with hair bands. I never made that connection before.
For Jazz.
Oi!
Right. We've got Octonauts going on in the background.
In the background.
So,
As usual,
I'm
we've got
using-
Captain Barnacles and Professor Inkling and Peso and Quasi. They're our best friends, and I won't even go into the Vegemals.
And
The Vegemals. The vegetable animals.
That doesn't sound like another word at all in the English language, does it?
No.
Are you telling me that Octonauts got vaginas?
No. No. I'm telling you they've got Vegemals,
This is good.
which are vegetable animals. Because a radish is running around on little feet.
This is
making
going to
weird
get
noises.
banned from the internet. This is going to get... oh my God, how can two parents say these things? I don't know. They just... Look, I told you about... I told you when I was a kid, they had...
Are we going to have to
They had
beep it out? Are we going to have our sound cancelled again?
I don't know. Counselled, maybe. Maybe it should be counselled instead of cancelled. No, when I was a kid, one of the top TV cartoons was Captain Pugwash. It's all about a little sailor who lived at sea and his friends, Seaman Staines and Roger the cabin boy. How did they get away with that stuff? How did they get away with that stuff? I don't know. I'll tell you how they got away with it. That the number one children's TV presenter on the BBC was...
Don't go there. I
Don't go
don't
there.
want to go there, okay? Let's talk
Right.
about something positive and nice. So,
Positive and nice.
yes,
I could do with a piece of cake right now. That would be really
that would be
pleasant.
positive and nice.
That would be nice, wouldn't
That
it?
would be,
A
yes.
piece of honey cake would go down
Honey cake.
really well.
I don't think I've ever made a honey cake.
Could you make a honey cake today, perhaps?
Oh,
Do you
if
think-
you get me some honey,
We had a big jar of
we
honey,
did.
but it all
Before
got...
everybody ate it.
Oh, okay.
That's what happens in big families. You get
Yeah.
something, and
Which
then the
is
next
big
day
for the big
you look
family.
at it, and there's nothing because everybody helped themselves, and you just have to keep buying food,
Help yourself.
lots and lots and lots and lots of food. You have to buy like wheelbarrows full of muesli and stuff like that. Because like 2 bottles of
Like a
juice
wheelbarrow, please.
and 1 bag of muesli per day, obviously, is just about, it's just about how fast that's gone.
I wonder how much of the muesli is that actually gets turned into nutrition in the kids' diet. Do you think it's... I think the folks... I think they should add banana to their muesli. I think they should do something like that, at least get some fruit in it.
They should.
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 That word, another word which should not exist. Should.
Should not exist.
I saw an
unless
article
it's
about
used.
that actually. What there was I saw
In
an
the
article
sentence.
about the fact that people are
No, Look, that's the
Yeah.
vegetables. Oh, they're gone.
I don't want
Really sick.
to see them.
Okay.
Like, I'm guessing they're probably small and green.
They're all kinds of colors. All kinds of colors.
What
How do we get away with that stuff?
And have
Okay.
meat.
What are
Okay.
you talking about?
Vegetables with feet. Back to the point. Dr. Mercola. We all love Dr. Mercola, right?
Do we?
We do. Dr. Mercola is the man. Right, he's the man. He's the guy who gave me the idea for the standing desks. Yeah, which are really good for working.
Which I'm not using because it's too high for me. It should get a bit lower.
Stand on something.
Because otherwise I'm working like this.
Stand on something.
You're standing your foot.
Stand on something. You'll be taller. It has to be that height because it's not adjustable because it's just stuff stacked on top of stuff. I've used that word again. I can't stop using that word. I'm gonna have like this. Should have this fine jar, right? And I don't mean fine meaning good. I mean fine like you.
It was going to be a fine jar for me because I'll just keep coming and picking it.
Yeah, I think I should put 10 cents in every time I use the
10
word.
cents? How about €2? That'll
I don't have
motivate you.
€2 to put. I don't have €2 to put in the jar.
I'll get you a hairband. Like in Scooby-Doo, you put it on your wrist and every time you say stop, I'll snap it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. But what if you're not around? I have to do it
You
myself.
snap it yourself.
I'll snap it myself.
Yeah. Shaggy snapped it himself. God. Role models. You have to
something
choose your role models.
Once we finish this, I'm going back to bed. It's just not happening this morning. Right.
So what did this awesome Dr. Mercola?
Well, Dr. Mercola
Awesomely say.
is great. His articles are very in-depth, very well researched. He produces a lot of nice videos and interviews. His partner runs the website Health Nut News, which is really good. It really goes into a lot of alternative health.
Does it talk about nuts
That
that are good for your health?
Probably. Nuts generally are. They generally are.
Generally.
So, that's another word that shouldn't exist. Right. Why
not?
This is my assault on the English language.
Obviously.
2 peanuts were walking down the street.
Yes.
One of them was assaulted.
I've got a joke.
Okay, what's your joke?
Why did the scarecrow get a promotion?
Oh, I saw this on Facebook this morning.
Yeah.
Wait. Because he was outstanding in his field.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right. That's nice. That's kind of cool. I like that. Language jokes. Okay. It's a huge article, so obviously we can't cover everything that's in the article. I'll give you the brief snippets.
Give me the snippets.
The
Go on.
snippets. Reading about how to. It's an article entitled "Following the Advice of Ancient Philosophers." It's about how to be more happy, right? And the irony is that reading about how to be happier will not make you happy, even though it's in an article
Obviously.
about. You're right.
Yes, I'm just getting comfortable here on this uncomfortable torture article.
Torture article. You know, I asked you the other day if you put on weight,
Yes.
and you didn't answer me.
Yes.
Have you put on weight?
Probably.
Okay. Just curious.
I don't have scales, so I can't really check if I've put on weight or not. I can just look
I
at
was just
myself in
curious.
the mirror and guess.
Not very scientific, is it?
No.
Not very
But-
scientific at all.
No.
Look at the size of your forearms. How does that happen?
What?
You get bigger forearms.
My forearms.
You get bigger forearms than me. That's not fair.
Because I'm chubby. So full muscle.
You're chubby. That's what I'm saying. You're looking a bit chubbier than you had done previously.
That's a good thing, right?
Yes,
You're
yes.
saying that as a compliment, right?
There's more of you.
There you go.
There you go.
Good.
Complimentary.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should talk about body image.
We should. That's a great topic to talk about. I think that affects everybody, and
Everybody. Ha 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 ha.
God. And you can't get away from it, right?
No.
You can't get away. You can't get away from your body image, and everywhere you kind of look around, you can't get away from other people's body images as well. The outer world reflects the inner turmoil, or something like that. Anyway.
Said Yoda here.
What? Yoda. Yoda? I can't. My Yoda voice.
Can you Yoda?
How does he speak? He speaks in a very. You must first unlearn. No, that just sounds like a strange elf, doesn't
It
it?
just sounds like somebody stepped on your foot.
It does. Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm not very good with small green characters.
Are we going to... Question of the day. Are we going to find out what these ancient philosophers say will make you happy forever?
No, we're not going to get there because I'm going
Mystery of
to
today.
ramble on
Like
about
half an hour.
irrelevance.
There was a half an hour of foreplay, right?
Oh, God. Well,
Get over it!
how many references have we had so far today?
I
Let's
made
see.
the first one, okay? It was the first one
That's the first one you've
that
made.
I made. The rest
No.
was by you.
Oh, there were a couple of indirect suggestions in what you said that I didn't pick
Really?
up on. I let them go. Okay. So there should be some rituals, apparently, that people... And rituals just means habits, yeah? That people can introduce into their life to give themselves a positive lift. Techniques can raise your level of happiness. These techniques include understanding how perception affects reality, which is what you were talking about earlier. Also understanding how you need to disconnect yourself from the reactions that you have to reality as well. And so, strategies. For many, happiness is elusive at best and at times for others near impossible. There's always someone or something pushing our buttons and making us feel less than joyful. What do you think about that statement? Generally true?
Yes, that's absolutely true. Can
Okay.
I give you my insight, or would you like to finish what you're doing
I'm
first?
going to read a little bit more.
Okay.
Right, and can you keep the insight ready to go?
I hope so.
Okay,
Yes.
start your engines. So, apparently, there was an original. Oh my gosh! Do I have to play another Octonauts in the background here?
Aye.
Aye, to be sure, Captain R. Oh, Once Upon a Time, the new season does not start until next month.
Good.
You have to wait a month, by the
Oh, we
way.
still have Hamish to watch, right? Right?
We got the third series.
Oh, good.
We finished the second series last night.
Did
Yeah.
we?
We did.
Good.
There we go.
Good.
Right.
It was good to finish.
Isn't it
Positive.
amazing that people in the past had to wait 2 years
I know.
for
Or
that?
a week.
2 years
Or they had to
watch the first two series. They had to wait 2
to
years,
watch another
more
part,
than a year.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy, and we can
What's
do it
even
in a week.
crazier is
Dun dun dun.
they would have to save that time that it's on the telly to watch it, because if they missed it, it was gone.
That's just so insane, isn't it? I mean, and they had no way to record it. And
Yeah, exactly.
And it's, as you said, just gone. They had to wait
that-
until it was repeated.
It's the pain of
Or
my
a rerun.
childhood. Once, I wanted to watch Grease, and
What, like the stuff they put on doors to
Grease
stop them
lightning,
squeaking?
do 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 go. Grease lightning, no 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 no. That,
Grease lightning, go, grease lightning.
and I couldn't.
I think you put on the same one.
I think you've put on the same one, he says. And I couldn't watch it because we had to go and visit my grandpa and my mom was like, "We have to go and visit your grandpa."
Wait,
And I was like,
I want to hear the story, but the
grease on the
kids are doing something in the back. Do you want me to put on a different one, yes or no?
Yeah, because this one was the same one.
The same one?
Yeah.
The same one?
The sick vegetable.
Sorry.
And
Stop it!
we said that. And my mom was like, "We have to go to the grandpa." And I was like, "But there's Grease on the telly, and I'm never ever going to see it again in my life. And it's supposed to be such a cool movie." And she was like, "Whatever, let's go." And I was like, "No, Grease." And
It's kind of weird because you could see your grandma at any time, right?
Grandpa.
Sorry.
I couldn't see my grandma because she wasn't there.
She was dead.
Yes.
Well, you still could have gone and seen her.
No, not really.
You could have gone to the grave at any time.
Yes, but you can see her. You could see the grave.
Yeah, because they don't make those with windows, do they? No. Right. It's all weird because of Hamish Macbeth last night.
Yeah, I know.
And that strange episode about coffins.
I know. It got into our subconscious. Anyhow, yes. So it was difficult those times when you had to watch things in the telly and they were not recordable because you didn't have a video recorder. Who's watching us? Is anybody watching us? Look.
Right now?
Yes.
Well, I think this is like where the numbers pop up at the top.
There's no number.
When people
It's
are
just
watching
live.
us on Facebook. What?
It just says live. There's no number, so nobody's
Better
watching.
than saying dead, I suppose.
I guess.
Might as well say dead right now. Okay. Don't worry, people will catch up with us. These will be golden in the future.
Will they?
Right? They will ripen and blossom into. They'll be worth gold dust. People will be fighting for copies of these in the future. They will. They'll be climbing over themselves.
Of course.
If that's even possible.
I can't. Okay. Continue, please. Continue, please, so that I can give you my insight.
Okay, previously it was believed that people needed to have double the amount of positive experiences in their life in comparison with negative experiences in order to be happy.
Okay.
Right? It was believed they needed a ratio of 2 to 1, 2 positive experiences to 1 negative experience.
Okay.
In general relation, obviously some experiences are more powerful than others.
Was this during the ancient philosophers' era?
No, this is
or is this a modern concept?
This is a modern psychological concept.
Okay.
I don't know because I didn't live way back when, right?
Okay.
When they would wear bed sheets and walk around in sandals and have funky beards. And I'm not talking about the 70s, okay? So,
okay. You sound a bit like that.
What? Okay.
Apart from the glitter, you forgot to mention the glitter.
The glitter?
Yeah.
The hairspray. And the freedom. Anyway, apparently modern research, that's a great word, research. I just research.
Finish the sentence!
Okay.
Sorry, I'm losing patience here.
Said the doctor. Modern research shows. That's it. She's gone. She's gone. Modern research shows you need a 3 to 1 ratio of happy experiences or positive experiences to negative experiences. For every negative emotion that you experience, you need to have 3 positive emotions in order to, in general, feel happiness. Apparently, only 20% of Western society actually experience this. Only 20% of Western society are experiencing happiness. Yeah, and it's crazy in a world where we've got so much information about the human condition that people are still suffering. They're still having problems with this. It's really wild. Even according to the article, even worse is the fact that 25% of people in Western society experience no joy at all in their lives. 0. No joy.
That's sad.
Isn't that shocking?
I think
What are they doing?
I think that
What are they not doing?
First of all, it's deeply connected with the existential struggles, right? If you have to worry about finances every single day, and if you have to worry about what you're going to feed your kids every single day, it's really difficult to enjoy the basic things, right? So I think it's closely connected with the level of poverty in society. And secondly, I think it's connected, this is just my opinion, okay, to the fact that people in general are taught to rely on external factors. They're expecting their environment to make them happy, because that's the nice, easy, comfortable thing, you know, to believe in, right? I will be happy if these things changed, if this happened, if I found somebody who would love me, or if I was a little bit richer, or if I could go to for a holiday, you know. But that's
people. I don't get the holiday thing, because people go away and they, you know, experience living in another environment, but they always have to come back. And the number of people that I work with, number of clients that I work with who, like when I talk about them, when I talk with them after their holiday, you know how they feel? When they're going back to work after their holiday?
Terrible.
They feel terrible.
They have to go back to work.
They feel depressed. They're instantly looking forward to the next holiday again.
Yeah.
I had a client last week who was like that. I was like, okay, how do you feel now you're back at work after having a break? It's like, well, I'm looking forward to my next break in 3 months.
Well, this is the whole point, that they expect happiness to come from the outside, while happiness can only ever come from the inside. You can only ever make yourself happy. Nobody else can make you happy. You can get distracted, okay? You can get pleasure from the outside, which will satisfy you for a while, right? Like when you're on a holiday.
Yeah, sorry, I want to add something to can I jump in?
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
okay.
I kind of make.
That's why they call it entertainment. Entertainment, because it comes in from the outside.
Yes.
Yeah, and tain, the root of tain means hold, as in maintain or detain or sustain or retain. Yeah, so the entertainment is to enter and hold the mind in a certain state, but it's all external influence.
Exactly, and it's a comfortable position to be in on a certain point, because you're not taking the responsibility for your own happiness, right? It's always easier to blame things on external circumstances, but once you realize that you are the only person that's responsible for your own happiness,
okay.
then that's it. Problem solved, right?
Well, it's not problem solved, it's problem realized. Because it's a realization of how things work. Then, after the realization, which is a thought, you have to act.
Yes.
And most people don't act on those thoughts. Most people only really do what they're told to do or what they feel obliged to do. It's crazy, but it's true. Most people only go where the people go, right? Most people follow some kind of leader somewhere. There's nothing wrong with having leaders. There's nothing wrong with people showing the way. It's just that people have to, at some point, step out of the shadow and be their own person and take charge of their own happiness.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. I don't know. You know me. I think it's all connected. I think it's all connected with our early childhood and with the feelings of self-worth, and it's all.
If you don't value yourself, nobody else is going to value you.
If you don't like your own company, you're not gonna be happy, right? Because you're stuck with yourself. So first thing you need to do is you have to realize what happened, why you're not valuing yourself, why you're not happy with yourself, and then try to work with it. And if that means that you need psychological help, if that means that you need a therapist, then go find a therapist, right? If it doesn't, if you can do it yourself by self-educating yourself, then that's great. I've got a great author. His name is Rohr, R-O-H-R.
Not like a lion, like roar.
Yeah, I think he's German, and I have only seen one of his books translated into English, I think. But I communicated with him by email.
Telepathically, perhaps.
By email, and I got the information that he's working on translation of his books into English. I have read a Czech translation of his feeling of self-worth, and I think it's a great book. He goes into detail of where it comes from, why it's damaged, and what can be done for it to be repaired. And it's such an important thing to work on for people. And I have actually pointed out in a discussion this morning already that
on Facebook?
Yes.
Or this discussion?
On Facebook.
Okay.
That
join us on Facebook.
Having babies, having babies is a great time to dig into these things, because that is when you have a baby. That's basically like a little crisis situation, which sounds negative, but what I mean to say is that it brings up things from the bottom of your subconscious and from the inside, that it brings out all the demons, right?
Okay.
And it's a perfect time to face them and to work with yourself to, find out where the problem is and get help if you need help, and solve these things, because it's hard to be happy with yourself and to be self-confident if you don't feel like you can respect yourself or even be with yourself.
Absolutely. I'm thinking, is there a positive term for crisis? Because crisis always sounds so negative, but it doesn't always. It doesn't always result in negativity.
Crisis
right?
is basically just a
positive opportunity for change.
Crisis is basically just a dramatic event that creates opportunity to change.
Do you think that's why the terrorist group ISIS picked that ISIS, because it's in crisis? Maybe
I don't think so. I think that's an abbreviation of something. But
okay.
Anyway, yeah. Well,
Israeli Secret Intelligence Services.
I also wanted to share.
For sure.
I also wanted to share a little something that I've picked up on the internet again some time ago. I have no idea where I picked it up, but it was a chain of what's happening in your head and how you perceive reality, and how perception shapes the results of your action. Right?
So is that a chain of perception or something?
I don't know, but the point was that the chain went like this, right? You get something from the outside, an external event happening.
Some kind of stimulus.
Yes, some kind of stimulus.
Right.
Which triggers an emotional reaction. Now, we know that the emotional reaction is only triggered by the external event, that it actually really comes from the inside, right? So the emotional reaction.
It's a setting of chemicals in the body.
Basically, yes. The emotional reaction, the emotion itself, has a vast influence on your thoughts, right?
Okay.
When I'm feeling negatively about something, then my thoughts are going to be negative. So the emotion shapes the thought. The thought directly shapes the behavior. And the behavior creates a result, right?
Emotion shapes the thought. The thought shapes the behavior.
And the behavior creates the result. Now, this is not mine, okay? I've seen that somewhere, someplace. But it is so helpful in the sense that you can basically change the result as long as you can work with the emotion, right? You can't influence the external event, but what you can influence is you can work with the emotion. You have an emotional reaction, you're mindful about your emotional reaction, you realize why you're reacting that way, and you correct it, basically, right? Like, okay, I'm feeling anxious, and therefore I think I will never be able to do this.
Mhm.
Okay? For example, when I'm trying to create a webinar, okay? Creating a webinar triggers anxiety, and anxiety triggers the thought, I will never be able to do this. It's not going to happen, right? So what you have to do is realize where the anxiety comes from, work with it, realize, okay, this is just my emotion coming from my past, whatever. I don't have to feel this way, right? It is irrational. And I have previous experiences telling me that I can do things, therefore I will be able to do this. And then base your behavior, your actions, and your results on that thought rather than the negative that was triggered instantly by the negative emotion. Does that make any sense?
That does make sense. Well, could you
We're out of milk.
We're out of milk.
We're out of milk. We have to go and get some. But you can have some fizzy water.
Bless you, Will.
Or juice. I think there's still some juice, is there?
There's no juice because I wanted some juice for breakfast this morning, and there was no juice. So there was no juice. There's no milk.
My God.
How's there no milk?
We have to go. There's a tiny little bit, but I wanted to keep it for Misley because Jasmine already had Misley today, but so
okay, I get it.
And Will didn't. There's only enough for one bowl of Misley, I'm afraid, anyhow. So. But I think Jasmine's just going to drink it.
She's discovered that.
She's found it. She's not stupid, people.
Well, could you go and pour a little bit of a drink for your sister, please? Thank you very much.
Exactly how much?
I don't know, just a little bit. I don't know. I trust you. I trust your judgment on it. Please. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Will. Please do not kick the balloon into the computers. Thank you. There we go. Right.
My question was, does that make sense?
What you said previously.
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus with the kids interrupting, but
Yeah, I know.
well, I trust you to make the right decisions. Thank you very much. Right. What I got from what you said is that. Thank you very much, Will. Could you not have a conversation with us?
1 second. Will, if you give her the milk to drink, I will make you some pancakes for breakfast when we're finished. Is that a deal?
What about me? Where's my pancakes? Do I get pancakes?
Is that a deal?
Yeah.
I want pancakes.
Pancakes.
Do you know why they're called pancakes?
Because they're made on a pan and they're cakes. Any other questions? Why is the sun yellow?
What's the capital of Sierra Leone?
Shut up, I have no idea.
I don't know. Wasn't that one of the Trivial Pursuit questions we did yesterday? Or was that New Guinea?
That was the gwhnsa, whatever it's called.
Gwynna, that's an animal, isn't it? Isn't it a lizard?
Anyway, it was Georgetown.
Anyway. Do you know who Georgetown was named after?
George?
Oh.
Or town?
Fred, actually. Flintstone. Right. The feeling is not who you are.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, good. Moving on. So the fact that you experience the feeling does not mean that that's who you are. So if you can disconnect the feeling from who you are, then you can distance yourself from your emotional responses. Not that you should be completely distanced from your emotional responses.
That's not even possible, honestly, but...
Well, there are some people who are more emotional than others, aren't there?
Yes.
So obviously for some people it's easier, for some people it's more complex.
Also, I would like to point out that what I just said, it doesn't mean that you have to deny your emotions, even the negative ones, right? You don't have to change your negative emotions instantly or anything like that. Acknowledging the emotions and admitting their value and realizing their function is, in my opinion, very important. So instead of instead of realizing that I'm afraid and just thinking to myself, that's stupid, I'm not going to be afraid, right? That doesn't work, and it's not helpful. But realizing I'm afraid, knowing where it comes from, understanding the function of fear, right? Okay, so my fear is trying to keep me safe from failure, for example, in my example that I used. Acknowledging the emotion is a very important step. So don't tell yourself off and try to deny what you feel. Acknowledge what you feel and work with it.
Boom. There we go. Right, drop the mic. No, don't. Wow. Yeah, I'm just sitting here taking notes as you speak because it's all gold. Good. So, and people out there should be doing that. As well. Take notes as you go along, either with things that you agree with or disagree with. It's really good to think back, look back, evaluate. And one of the points about learning is that repetition is a large part of learning. You're not gonna how can I say, engrave something in the hardcore of your mind if you don't repeat the action, the information, the activity again and again and again. And one of the best ways to do that is not to listen to us 1,000 times, but just take notes.
You know what's really funny? As I speak, I realize that all these little bits and pieces of knowledge can be found, well, some of them can be found in kids' movies, in kids' cartoons. Right?
There's a lot of wisdom.
There is the Trolls cartoon, right, which teaches you that happiness comes from the inside, not from the outside. It doesn't give you any depth, it doesn't go in deep, but it introduces the idea, which I think is helpful, especially for kids to realize that. Another one is the Inside Out movie, right? Yeah. Which teaches that all emotions are valuable, even sadness, because the main character was always trying to be happy and thinking that only.
Oh yeah, if you don't experience happiness if you remove sadness.
Yeah,
you don't. You need to respect it.
You need the negative emotions to process what's happening around you.
Oh yeah, you can't have the yin without the yang. You can't have north without south.
So that's basically teaching children that you can't deny your fears or your sadness or grief or whatever. That you need it to proceed, basically.
You can't acknowledge belief without acknowledging disbelief.
I love that movie because it basically teaches children what's the function of the emotions. Like the disgust keeps you safe from eating something yucky or something poisonous, right? And
that's a great point.
And the fear keeps you safe from dangers around you, and sadness helps you deal with all the negative stuff that happens round about you. And I think it's a good lesson to teach your kids. So good movie. Check it out if you have kids. You probably have kids if you're watching this, right?
Yeah, or you're planning to have kids, or you had them.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Any of those. Or you were a kid.
Yeah.
Or you still are a kid. Anyhow, watch it even if you're not a kid.
Or you're experiencing your second childhood.
Yes.
Or your third.
Watch it even if you're not a kid. I love to watch the cartoons with my kids because you can just...
Can you not play with the kids?
Occasionally, I needed to change my position and I needed to hold the cable so that I don't knock everything down. So...
okay, continue, because I'm going to put on another Octonauts with the kids in the background.
So yeah, I as much criticism as Disney movies and Pixar movies and all these, the big production cartoons made in USA, I have seen, people being very negative about them and saying, oh, they contain flashing images and they have bad impact on the attention of children and yada yada yada. Sometimes they hide, treasure.
Yeah, there's the Up film as well. Is that Pixar or Disney?
Yes, Up. Yeah, that's
pretty positive in its outlook on On what? On humanity, maybe? On some elements of humanity?
I don't.
On connection, on human connection?
It's dealing with death, right? It teaches, it introduces
Life
the topic.
without death has no meaning.
It introduces the topic of death to children, which I think is very important.
The greatest single invention of life, according to Steve Jobs, was death.
Oh,
You know that? It's one of his famous speeches.
is it? I like that. I think that's.
That's one of the greatest speeches of the 20th century was the Steve Jobs. I think it's the graduation speech where he talks about here are 3 stories from my life that have meaning for me, and that's in that speech. It's I got that.
I haven't heard.
It's loaded up in my
I should
motivational
listen to it, I
podcasts,
guess.
and as I'm
Is
jogging.
it on your YouTube as well?
Yes, but it's hidden.
Okay.
So it's not accessible to everybody
Okay. Well,
because
I
it's
should
just
listen to
it's
that,
just too
I suppose.
powerful.
It sounds good.
It's just
Sounds
too
good.
powerful.
It's the power that should not be yielded by an undeserving human. Something like that.
Can you come back to reality, please?
Yes.
Right, you disappeared into musical fantasy land there for a second.
Yes.
Okay, so to summarize what you said, again, I'm taking notes because I'm sold on the idea. Emotions have value and function.
Yes.
So we're not about ignoring them. We're about acknowledging them and appreciating them for the value that you have. Just as you pointed out, some of our senses not only tell us what to do, but what not to do. So, and I think, as I pointed out yesterday or the day before, sometimes it's not necessary to know exactly what you want to do or need to do if you can understand and analyze what you don't want to do or don't need to do, because then it just points you in the opposite direction. So as long as you're traveling away from those negative elements, it should have some positive effect on your life. And as long as you don't ignore them or try to pretend that they don't exist. My God, how many people pretend things don't exist in their world, and until they acknowledge the fact they exist, they're not going to grow in any sense. They're just going to repeat the same mistakes again and again. And as you said, fear keeps you on track.
Yeah. Albert Ellis, for example, talks about, and I told you this before.
Is that the book that
you
were talking about earlier?
Yes,
What's the title of the book again?
No. The one that I was talking about earlier was Roar, R-O-H-R, and that was the feeling of self-worth.
Okay.
But Albert Ellis wrote the emotional training book that I was reading earlier, and I talked to you about it. And he recognizes adequate emotions and inadequate emotions, which are like exaggerated, right? And the exaggeration comes from your early childhood when you, and is basically like a survival mode from your early childhood, right? Which you have carried on into adulthood with you, right? So to some triggers, therefore, you can react irrationally with irrational, exaggerated emotions. And one of these are fear and utter anxiety, right? And
you mean complete anxiety?
Yes.
Okay.
And he says that you have to realize, that the fear is adequate emotion in the situation, right? It's okay for me to feel scared of doing the webinar because it's something new I've never done. And the fear is going to make me prepare for it, okay? But feeling an overpowering anxiety that petrifies you and keeps you from doing the action is irrational. It's always useful to know where it comes from, but even if you don't know where it comes from your childhood, just realizing that this is an over-exaggerated emotion, and it's supposed to be this. It's supposed to be fear. It's not supposed to be utter panic. Helps you move in the right direction.
Expect the best, but prepare for the worst. I think that it's not a bad approach. It's not the only approach, but it's not a bad approach. And I'm thinking specifically about like there's big storms that have hit America recently. Yeah, those that put in place storm shelters, for example, or had plans to move to higher ground. Yeah, those people didn't want to do that, and they were always, had a positive outlook on things, but they always prepared for the worst, just in case. They weren't living their lives in a way of negativity. They were prepared for different scenarios.
They didn't just blindly deny that the possibility of everything going haywire.
Yeah, and they didn't sit and wait for other people to do things haywire.
Haywire.
Yeah.
Haywire. Sideways.
Yeah, they didn't wait for other people to do things for them. Right, they were proactive.
Yes, yes. Well, that's a bit of a problem for optimists sometimes. To be prepared for the worst. Because as a natural optimist, I can tell you that for me it comes easy to expect the best, but it doesn't come as naturally to prepare for the worst, because sometimes you just kind of deny the possibility of the worst, which is not right, but it happens automatically. I don't know where that comes from.
Complete optimism.
It's crazy.
I think a good word to use is deny. Denies some elements of reality. So, the shiny, happy person who's always full of positivity does from time to time need to reflect.
Yes, absolutely. On
all the things that are going on around about them. Because the classic example is the insane person, right? The person who's always smiling. That there are moments in life when you do need to step back and realize that not everything is
rainbows and butterflies
and cakewalks. Apparently, apparently that means
honey
the same
cakes.
thing. Honey cakes. Not everything is honey. Right. God, here we go. Okay, let's do what?
What's
Okay.
going on?
Perception.
Yeah.
We're talking about perception. Perception is everything. Now here's a statement that the dog flies across the room. Here's a statement that I think does hit home a little bit, that events are neither good and bad in and of themselves. And this is what you said earlier. And it relates back to, it's the often quoted Shakespeare, that there is no good or bad, only that which you perceive. What's the Shakespeare quote? I can't even remember. People out there can Google it, don't know it, right? But it appears in one of the Shakespeare plays. Yeah. There is nothing in the universe that is good or bad except that which you
make out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Exactly. Yeah. It is your belief about the event that triggers you, not the event itself, not the fact that the event happens, but your treef. What's a treef? Is that a tree and a leaf? I don't know. Your tree. That should be a word.
Yeah, your emotional reaction to a certain event completely depends on what how do you say it? What's your emotional base?
Well, it's your state at the time, right?
Right.
Your state at the time, like an angry person sees everything with anger.
Yeah, right? Everybody has their own triggers as well. Like we were talking about in July, I think, at the outdoor swimming pool, when you breached the topic of finances, and I completely overreacted because I was triggered by it. Right?
Good. I can't remember that at all.
No, we were talking about finances, and you mentioned something about making more money than I make or whatever. It doesn't matter, right? And I was completely triggered because my entire teenage years, basically, and childhood years, in my family, we had this philosophy that it basically suggested that if you're not making money, you're not a worthy member of society, right?
Not providing value, basically.
Yes, basically. And so it triggered me to the extreme, because I instantly felt, the self-worth going down, and like I'm not valued here at all, right? Somebody says that, even though it's probably not what you meant at all, right? You were probably just pointing out the fact in relation to some previous conversations that we had. So emotion is vastly triggered by our previous experiences. So the perception of the outside comes from whatever's going on the inside.
Okay, so one way to help you focus in the kind of situation where the negative emotions are taking control is think about what you would recommend to another person to do if the other person was having the experience that you're having. You can try to disconnect the feelings you're having from you. Okay, so you split it down the middle. You say, okay, this is the feeling and this is the reaction, and what would I recommend to somebody going through that? It's just one little strategy that it's a look in the mirror strategy.
It's actually a strategy used with children as well to help them cope with problems that they can't talk about in connection with their own person, but they can talk about it in connection with somebody else.
Yeah, the classic example is, like say someone's driving through traffic and they're freaking out about, oh, there's so much traffic on the road. And, obviously the real reason is that they have to be somewhere else and they can't get there, which is the result of planning and organization, which is something else that happened somewhere else at a different time. You've got to try to separate themselves from what's happening and try to reason with themselves. In that kind of situation.
Like, what would I say to somebody who's freaking out in the traffic? I would say, what is the point of freaking out if you can't do anything about it? Just chill out and enjoy the fact that you have 5 minutes to yourself. That's what I would say.
Yeah? Yeah, it's probably, see, if that was me.
You would kill me if I said that to you, right?
I'm not sure that would calm me down. Although it's not that I wouldn't appreciate it. Or understand it. It's hard to separate yourself from your emotional state, definitely. Another factor that contributes to more misery than happiness is addressing our own personal wants and desires. So you have to realize what is achievable and realistic in your world. I think there's a lot of things that we desire, that we want for. These are not things that we need, and they might even be relatively unrealistic.
Like I would like to go for a holiday in India, right?
For some people that's unrealistic, yeah, and so focusing on something which is unrealistic is not
going to make you happy.
It might be realistic in the future, but it might be unrealistic in the present. So you can make it a future reality, but you've got to realize that it's not going to happen instantly. Yeah, most changes are slow, gradual, invisible progressions.
So put it on your wish list and focus on things that you can achieve.
Put it on your wish list. Stick a picture on your fridge. Keep visualizing it.
But realize what you can do in the moment, and just making small steps, small achievements. Yeah, it's going to make you feel better rather than being frustrated about not being able to do something.
Yeah, and also realize that trying to satisfy your desires is never ending.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to be completely satisfied by doing that. Do what you can, where you are, with what you've got, and that's the right place to start. That's the right place to start.
The times that I've been the happiest in my life, just going to get personal. The times that I've been the happiest in my life, if I don't count the hormonal rush of being in love,
which might be an illusion.
Yeah, was when I was doing something for other people. When I got out of my trying to make myself, or when I stopped focusing on the external events happening to me that are not making me happy the way I wish them to make me happy. And when I started to focus, when I just turned it around and started to focus on what can I do for others, or how can I help others? And it kind of gives you, the moment you realize your talent or the way that you actually can make a difference in somebody else's life, that is what made me happy. In just getting out of that egotistic state of mind and getting into the let's give something to the world.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Absolutely, and it helped myself in the long term, right? And it helped me.
Well, you're talking about giving over getting.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes, and it sounds like a huge cliche, right? But it works. It just practically, completely and totally works for me. So, as you may argue, some psychologists may argue that it's probably caused by some childhood trauma, and you're a people pleaser, and you only feel your self-worth when you just give away. But it works for me anyhow. Well,
there's an old saying: you can only take with you what you give away. Basically, yeah. And then there's the biblical story as well with, the rich man wants to follow Jesus, and what's the saying? It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven.
I think so. I don't know.
Something like that. And then, so the rich person says to Jesus, what should I do? And Jesus is like, well, first of all, you have to give everything away. And the rich man's like, what are you, crazy? Build up all this wealth, and now you want me to give it away? And he's like, well, there you understand the problem, then, the complexity of the situation.
No, it is. It's true. You can't do.
Okay. Meanwhile, while we're having this conversation, in the background, Jazzy has opened another of the books. Is that the same one as before?
Well. Can you go and make sure that Jazzy takes a pencil rather than a pen?
Why doesn't he go and get some paper? Go grab some pieces of paper really quickly, because she's going to write on that book in permanent pen.
Give it a pencil rather than a pen.
You know where the paper is in the bedroom. Go grab. You've got 5 seconds. Please go grab as many pieces of paper as possible. Otherwise, we're going to lose one of our educational books, because Jazzy's going to write on it in pen. Well, I'm counting down. Can you bring the pieces of paper?
Jazzy, you can't use those markers, darling. You have to use
can you bring
pencil.
Them? Put them down on the floor there for your sister.
Are you going to draw
put
something
them down on
for
the floor
us?
There. No, not on the carpet, on the floors.
She's not going to go. Yeah,
Well, can you pick up the... Well, where are you going?
Yay, good job, darling.
Can you pick up the book for us, please?
What?
Pick up the book for us. Give us the book that's over there on the floor. Pick it up and hand it to us.
Thank you.
Hand it to us. Thank you.
Well, you're a lifesaver. Thanks.
Thank you.
So, I wanted to point out something else. Can I just jump into it?
Yeah. Okay. Now that we've solved that background issue.
Okay. I wanted to mention the body image that we started to talk about earlier. And
body image is
body image is largely that's a perfect example of how the perception creates, your reality.
Okay, we do a 5-minute countdown. Okay, because we're going to finish the cast in 5.
You can look at you in the mirror, right? And you can tell yourself that you look disgusting.
Okay.
Or which is going to just make you feel miserable, like all the time. Or you can look at yourself in the mirror, and you can first of all focus on the positives that you can see, right? Second of all, realize that the ideal shoulds that you have in your head are unrealistic completely, and therefore you should compare yourself to them. Third of all, you have to realize what function your body have fulfilled and is fulfilling still, right? For example, especially pertaining to mothers after having babies and having, the flab and the loose skin and the stretch marks and all of that. And you can just shape, even if you can't shape your body, which you can, but even if you can't at that moment, because you have a newborn baby, for example, you can always shape your thinking about your body. You can always
shape the mind first.
Focus on the fact that your what your body achieved, right? What you were what you just did, right? That you had a person living in your belly for 9 months, and that's amazing, right? What the organs do is amazing. So the stretch marks basically remind you of you being amazing. They're not disgusting, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's another thing that helps me. I can do that quite easily.
I mean, look what happens to a tree as it grows, right? I mean, people don't like go up to a tree and go, oh, look, it's not smooth.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Or say, oh, it looks disgusting. No, they just think it's interesting, or they think, well, it's been through. You see scars on a tree trunk, and you think, oh, maybe it's been hit by a lightning.
I think it's just because the images that are thrown at us on a daily basis are mostly idealistic. You don't see that many images of pregnant women on television, or you definitely don't see images of stretch marks.
And that brings me back to that photographer, and I have to post that link to the photographer's work under this video, because it's amazing the way she presents what is usually considered ugly in the society, and she shows the beauty in it. I have to put it. I think her name is Biel, something like that.
Yes.
To check it out.
Yeah, post it. Don't forget, or you'll regret.
Don't forget to post it.
There we go. We'll just add one more little note to the principles of happiness here, that some people feel that one of the key factors in being happy is just learning to be happy with what you've got, to realize when enough is enough. Understanding that there's always more of everything, but we don't always need more of everything. There's that great saying, the grass is always greener on the other side. And people look at what other people have, and they kind of desire for those things that maybe are not really going to improve the quality of their life. Maybe say you want a car, you don't have a car, and you're thinking about all the things you can do with the car, but you're not thinking about all of the other issues, like all of the extra payments you're going to have to make on it, or the number of times you're going to have to take it to the garage, or the fact that you're going to have to keep it clean and tidy. So,
and then you get a car, and then you think, oh, this is a really shitty car. I wish I had a better one, right?
Well, yeah, people, never happy, never.
And then you do get a better one, and then you think, oh, I wish it had these functions like he has.
Yeah, it's the upgrade principles, right? The upgrade principles.
Exactly.
So,
well, other people probably just wish they could walk, right?
And this is the last episode of the season.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us, Will. We know, because I just put it on.
Daddy's just put it on. Yeah.
I'm just trying to manage.
Wow! Is that me? Is that me?
Check it out. Those pictures are so cool.
I love her drawings. They're so spooky sometimes.
Oh, but the kids' drawings are.
Yeah, I know.
They begin in that kind of disconnected, spooky way. So don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Anyway,
it's too small for my.
So we've covered a lot of elements related to the principles of happiness and families. So the article is Dr. McCullough from drmccullough.com. It is entitled "Following the Advice of Ancient Philosophers Can Make You Happier." So I'll post a link to it under the Facebook chat. If you can't find it, let me know, and I'll send it directly to you. If you want to interact with us, that's great. Find us on Facebook under Graham William Hendrey, and what are you, Yanka Slobodova is the Facebook page that you got. We're also the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching. You can find us on YouTube. Check out www.nsa-slovakia.com. There's a Pinterest page. There's so much going on. You can subscribe to the Daily Free Mail email, which is motivation and inspiration for all aspects of life, especially educational issues. We have to grow. What do you want to add? What do you want to say at the end? 21st Century Mom is me. Okay. So you can check that out as well on Facebook and on the internet. Yeah. Now, why am I sweating now? After doing this for... Because I'm hot. You are actually hot. I mean, hot. Anyway, right. There we go. So, time to conclude. We'll be back again with another presentation very soon. Keep in touch with us. Like, subscribe, share, care.
Yes, we care. We absolutely care. So, if you have anything that you'd like to add or that you'd like to contradict, just please do so. Or if you have any literature that you would like to, suggest for us to improve on our
You want us to critique
knowledge.
your articles? We'll do that here. Okay. No problemo. Right, time to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
We say goodbye on the podcast first.
Goodbye.
What's that from? Is that My Fair Lady?
No,
What's that from?
that's the sound of music.
Okay, it's a good night song, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Where the kids are going to bed. Right, okay. Say goodbye on the podcast.
Goodbye.
Goodbye on the podcast.
Goodbye, the podcast people. Goodbye, Facebook people.
Goodbye, Facebook people. Thanks very much for tuning in. Stay cool. Stay cool.
Yes.
There we go. And on YouTube.
Thank you, YouTube people.
YouTube people, you guys.
Let
stay
us know
cool
if
as
this
well.
does anything for you.
Yes, we'll be back again soon. And the kids want food as it goes. Don't play with the cables. We're not finished.
I'm not even pulling them. I'm just doing that because she was coming here and she was going to grab them.
Rock and roll. Swindle.